company. So it's a little different than misleading investors about who your CEO is. You know, mom and pop on Main Street can't buy stock in Bain Capital. But what it does do is it paints a far different picture than that was purported to be the reality, that that there was a different band of people running that company. And so these documents are throughout the SEC filings. Some people have said that, and the Romney people suggest, sort of on background, although they haven't come out and asserted this directly, that it's more of a technicality and kind of a legality, and that there was a sort of a legacy filings. But when you see 5 companies, 5 investment partnerships being created by Mitt Romney in 2002, brand new, it sort of doesn't sound like legacy filings or leftovers or boilerplate that just happened to find its way in there.
There's been some discussion today about whether or not the Romney folks were looking for a correction or a retraction on the article. As I understand it, there's no correction or retraction forthcoming from the Globe. Their specific complaint, what they said was, the article is not accurate. Governor Romney left Bain Capital in February 1999 to run the Olympics and had no input on investments or management of companies after that point. Let me just ask you whether or not you have reported anything either way about whether or not he had direct investment or management of companies after that point. It seems like that's sort of beside the point of what it is that you documented today.
Right. I mean, our story was really limited to looking at the discrepancies and the contradictions in the paperwork. So if you look at what the SEC filings show, that Bain on paper was calling Mitt Romney their president and their leader and their chief executive after 1999 up until 2002. On the other hand, they filed this financial disclosure report in the most recent one, and again in 2007, that he left Bain Capital in 1999, that he actually retired. So it's really difficult, I think, for most laymen and most people, and in the political sphere as well, to understand how both these things can be true. How can you retire from a company in 1999 but then remain as president, CEO, and chairman? So I think that's one of the discrepancies that we're reporting, and that's really the crux of our story. And the Romney people, as they did ask for a correction, they're not getting one because they haven't been able to show that any of our reporting was inaccurate. They don't like the take of the story, and they don't like the way it looks, and that's been the difficulty for them. One of the things that's really interesting is in our reporting that we've uncovered is that in Mitt Romney himself in 2002, I think you alluded to when he was the Democrats tried to get him off the ballot in Massachusetts in 2002 by challenging his residency. And during the hearings that challenged his residency, he successfully beat that allegation. But he said that he said during his testimony that I took a leave of absence. So even his own frame of mind in 2002, as he looked back over the previous 3 years, was a leave of absence. It wasn't retirement. But now you fast forward 15 years and you look at what they're saying now in his financial disclosure form, for example, it says retired. So they've really sort of evolved to what even that they've said themselves and what the candidate has said himself about that his frame of mind during that time.
Christopher Rowland, the Washington bureau chief of the Boston Globe, thank you for helping us sort through this, and thanks for your reporting on this. It's nice to have you here. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
It is remarkable, that evolution. Isn't it just uncanny, to the way it always evolves so that he gets credit for things that are seen as good and he gets no responsibility for anything that's seen as bad? It's uncanny the way that wends around. All right, Mudcat Saunders is here tonight for the interview. I'm really looking forward to that. And we've got a rah-rah, sis boom bah, good news, best new thing in the world today. It's all still ahead. Stay with us.